We also have Amitabh Tiwari, political analyst, joining us. Mr. Tiwari, today the Supreme Court has asked some very tough questions of petitioner Prashant Bhushan, and also in the Hindenburg OCCRP case, it's talked about the need to ask responsible questions, to trust legal institutions over foreign media reports. It is asked as to what action was taken against short sellers. Now, we know that Adani Group has been saying all this time that this is a game of short sellers and they have profited from this report. And meanwhile, the SG has also talked about a trend where a foreign media report comes, and of course that also tends to influence opposition parties and the kind of political discourse in India. So clearly pointing out to some vested interests. Now, how do you see the political play of something like this, Mr. Tiwari?
See, essentially what Supreme Court is telling today is that the petitioners had approved the courts for investigation on the basis of the Hindenburg report. And the Supreme Court had constituted a panel, a SEBI-led panel, and had appointed the members of the panel as well. They have already submitted an interim or sort of a status report, wherein they've said that they have completed or concluded the investigations into 22 out of the 24 issues which they found, and the balance 2 are being investigated currently. So essentially what is happening is that after the petitioners approached the courts and after the court appointed the panel members, they have now come up with this suggestion or with this questioning of the integrity or the credibility of the panel members, which perhaps the court today has said is not correct. Secondly, the political ramifications, as in the Congress party, has been raising the issue on a lot of political platforms. And essentially, I don't see it getting any traction on this issue because this does not impact perhaps the common man. Price rise, unemployment, inflation are more dearer issues to the common man. And these allegations of the Congress party may not be flying with the crowd. So it's better for them to focus on more bread and butter issues. And this has the potential of becoming the Rafale 2.0 for the Congress party, wherein they were again barking on a wrong tree and did not get the desired results by raising those issues.
Mr. Tiwari, the Supreme Court has also made this very potent observation that small investors and their interests need to be protected. And we saw in the case of, the Hindenburg report that small investors did have to face a brunt. And clearly political parties, maybe it is time for them to also understand that it's time to act responsibly. And like you were saying, talk about issues that actually matter to people and at least not damage something that affects, their livelihoods. So what does this mean, this whole call to protect the interests of small investors as against short sellers? What does this mean, sir?
See, essentially, when the petitioners are talking about the credibility of the panel members, or rather the conflict of interest, as you've mentioned, there should also be vary of the conflict of interest of the people who have prepared the report. Because there also we cannot give a clean sheet to the people who have prepared the report and assume that they have very honest intentions. That's number one. Then again, as you mentioned, these reports or this report was predominantly used by short sellers to make money. And SEBI has in place regulations to protect the interests of the small level or the small scale investors, and they would be taking the adequate steps which is necessary in this regard, taking lessons from this episode wherein the Adani Group shares did suffer some beating when this report was out, but it is back to its prehistoric or its pre-report levels. So yeah, I mean, essentially the short sellers' intention is to make money. So whoever is making this report, people who are reading these reports should also be very clear that the purpose or objective of the short seller is to make money when the share price falls, and they have no other interest in the in any other thing apart from essentially making money. But this report has been used by other people to take political mileage out of it and create a sort of an impression around the group that its funding and other aspects are not in place. But as Ashwini ji also mentioned, a lot of these cases are like old wine in new bottle and have been already investigated and closed by the agencies in India.